In 1971, three college friends walked into an old Seattle building with a dream and a borrowed name. They opened a small shop selling roasted coffee beans. Nothing fancy, just beans. No espresso, no lattes, just the smell of potential. That tiny shop was called Starbucks. Named after the first mate in Moby Dick, it evoked seafaring tradition and adventure. But at first, it was just a quiet corner of a growing city, with more ambition than customers. The founders, Jerry Baldwin, Zen Siegel, and Gordon Bowker, weren't business moguls. One taught English, another wrote advertising copy. They simply loved coffee and wanted to bring high-quality beans to America's cup. They learned roasting from Alfred Peet, the Dutch-American coffee guru behind Peet's Coffee. He was their mentor and supplier. His signature dark roasts became Starbucks' foundation. But the trio didn't sell drinks, only beans and equipment for people to brew at home. By the early 80s, they had built a small, loyal following. Coffee lovers came in to smell the roasts, chat with staff, and leave with a brown bag of beans. Starbucks had 6 stores. Modest, but steady. Then, a man named Howard walked in. Howard Schultz was a young marketing executive selling kitchenware. When he visited Starbucks in 1981, he was struck by the aroma, the vibe, the passion. It was love at first sight, he said. This wasn't just coffee, it was culture. He convinced the founders to hire him. In 1982, he became Starbucks marketing director. He had big ideas, ideas that would soon change everything. But first, he had to take a trip that would light the spark. In 1983, Schultz visited Italy. There, he saw something different. Coffee bars on every corner. People didn't just grab coffee, they gathered, lingered, connected. He saw espresso as a ritual, not a transaction. That vision haunted him. Back in Seattle, he pitched the idea. Starbucks should sell drinks, lattes, cappuccinos, create a cafe experience like Italy. The founders hesitated. They worried it would distract from their core, selling quality beans. Schultz was undeterred. So he left. In 1985, Schultz started his own coffee company, Il Giornale. He opened a few stores, modeled after the Italian cafes he loved. They served espresso in porcelain cups. Music played softly. People stayed. It worked. In 1987, Starbucks' founders decided to sell. Schultz saw his moment. With help from investors, he raised $3.8 million and bought the company. He merged it with Il Giornale and took the Starbucks name. Now, it was his vision. Under Schultz, Starbucks transformed. No longer just a bean seller, they became an experience. The cafe was now the product. Coffee was the excuse. A third place between home and work. It resonated. By 1992, they had 165 stores. That year, Starbucks went public. Shares opened at $17. Investors saw foam and fortune. Schultz, once a self-described kid from the projects, had taken a humble bean shop to Wall Street. But he wasn't done brewing. Expansion became the mission. Starbucks opened stores across the US, then Japan, the UK, China. At its height, a new store opened every 15 hours. The green siren logo became a global symbol. Coffee became a lifestyle. By the 2000s, Starbucks had become a cultural icon. Celebrities carried the cups. Writers filled novels in corner seats. Teenagers ordered frappuccinos with whipped cream and extra caramel. It was no longer about Italy. It was about identity. But success has its cost. Critics said Starbucks was homogenizing local culture. Small coffee shops struggled to compete. Some called it the McDonald's of coffee. Schultz brushed off the noise. "We're not in the coffee business," he said. "We're in the people business." He focused on employee benefits, healthcare, stock options, even for part-timers. He called them partners, not workers. It was part branding, part belief. He wanted to build a company with soul. One cup, one conversation at a time. But the boom couldn't last forever. In the mid-2000s, the economy wobbled. So did Starbucks. Too many stores, stretched too thin, quality slipped. Schultz, who had stepped down as CEO in 2000, watched uneasily from the sidelines. In 2008, as the financial crisis hit, Schultz returned as CEO. Starbucks was in trouble, falling sales, unhappy staff, confused brand. He made a bold move. He closed every US store for a day to retrain baristas. A reset, not a retreat. It was symbolic and strategic. Schultz wanted to rekindle what made Starbucks special. "We forgot the romance and theater of coffee," he said. He shut underperforming stores, slowed growth, and doubled down on quality. He also embraced tech, mobile ordering, loyalty apps, digital payments. Starbucks wasn't just back, it was ahead. The siren was singing louder than ever. And if you're enjoying this story, maybe hit that subscribe button. Consider it your daily dose of caffeine. Behind the scenes, Schultz pushed for ethical sourcing. Starbucks invested in coffee farmers, supported fair trade, and pledged sustainability. It was image and impact. They wanted to serve conscience with every cup. They opened community stores, hired veterans, supported education for workers. Schultz believed business could be a force for good. Not perfect, but trying. He once said, "Profitability is not in conflict with doing the right thing." But Schultz's ambition didn't stop with coffee. In 2018, he stepped down again as CEO. Rumors swirled about politics. He considered running for president. "I love our country," he said, "but we're better than this." He never officially entered the race. Still, his story remains tied to Starbucks. A kid from Brooklyn who grew up in public housing, who saw his father injured and unemployed, who built a company with benefits because he never forgot that pain. Today, Starbucks has over 30,000 stores worldwide. From Beijing to Buenos Aires, its green logo glows in every time zone. It's become part of the global rhythm. Morning rushes, first dates, study sessions, late-night talks, all over a cup. But the journey wasn't smooth. There were boycotts, lawsuits, union fights, and backlash over race and labor. Schultz and the company have made missteps. Yet, they've continually adapted, evolved, and brewed new beginnings. In recent years, labor tensions have risen. Baristas have begun unionizing, demanding better conditions. Schultz, once praised for benefits, has faced criticism. The man who gave workers stock is now seen by some as standing in the way of change. He testified before Congress in 2023, defending his record. Passionate, defiant. "I have built my life around the dignity of work," he said. But dignity, like coffee, is subjective. Strong for some, bitter for others. Time will judge his legacy. Starbucks remains a fixture, but can it stay meaningful in a changing world? Can a company born from romance keep its soul in a corporate age? These are questions still brewing. What's undeniable is the imprint. Starbucks reshaped how we drink, gather, and even think about coffee. It turned a simple beverage into an experience, a brand into a ritual, a logo into a lifestyle. And it all began in a quiet Seattle store with 3 friends and a dream. They didn't know what they were starting. Neither did Howard Schultz that day he walked in and smelled the beans. But sometimes, destiny smells like coffee. Every morning, millions hold a green cup on their way to work. They don't think about its journey. But inside that paper cup is a story of risk, vision, and resilience. A story that started small and poured out across the world. In the end, Starbucks isn't just about coffee. It's about connection, about the spaces between home and hustle, about the idea that even in a fast world, we can slow down. For a moment, a sip, a story. And maybe, just maybe, the next time you take a sip, you'll taste more than caffeine. You'll taste ambition, redemption, and the warmth of a dream roasted to perfection.